Folks, hello and welcome to the Random Party Generator. At the moment, these are the cards that you've been dealt. I am Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR. With me is Rob, Bat the Attic Conley. And like I told Mike, you better watch out, Mike, because you could get drafted.
Indeed, Mike.
So, and listen, with Matt, F you. Okay, it's too early for me to properly curse. But Mr. Matt Jackson, you definitely know how to be here. If you're not here, I can't help you. I can't help you. John, good to see you. Thaiatus, all our usual regulars. We got a few topics to cover. One literally came in right before the show and will probably be covered again on a separate video, but it is a timely story, especially if you're going to any kind of convention. Oh, of course. Matt, Tim, they're nice enough to show up in the chat. You bastards. You bastards. You should be here. You should be here. So, I do believe that the first thing that Rob and I are going to take a look at is a certain Kickstarter that is near and dear, at least to my heart, Rob's heart, most of us in the OSR. White Box Cyclopedia by none other than the only James Spahn, which I am very happy to say has surpassed $29,000.
Yep, I backed it. And also, folks, this is not just a supplement to the Swords and Wizardry White Box. It has the full rule set in there as well.
Yes, it's got the full rules. It's got optional rules. You can tweak it any direction you want to tweak it. I'm backing for what is it? The deluxe, the version with the fabric bookmarks built in. You know, the limited edition. I did speak with James a bit. They're talking about adding more of the limited edition, but they got to talk to their printer to see if they expand it. Mike, yes. Wow, yes. I'm sorry, Mike. You know, tag me in, Coach. Thank you.
Oh, I believe that. I make my roll to disbelieve.
This is the Random Party. Hold on. And then, Mike, you're going to enjoy our next topic because it is something that is really timely, but we'll get to that. All right, Mike. Check your Facebook, sir. So now Mike and I are still trying to schedule James to yeah. We listen, we have a low census today, Don. We have a low census. Oh my God. You know.
Tim, you're chatting and you're not on?
Yeah, no, Tim, Matt, you know, they're just teases. Teases, I tell you. They're teases. But James has been working on white box material for over a decade. He is someone that the prelude or the foreword is actually written by Matt Finch.
Yeah, he went to Matt Finch and talked about more than just using the OGL. He could have done it with the OGL, but he decided to ask Matt for explicit permission.
Yeah, which No, not for nothing, folks. Tells you a lot about this community that we are a part of. And I love the arguments. The OSR is not a community. It's like-minded people that enjoy the same hobby. Whatever. It's a community. You don't have to be a part of it. Don't feel forced. But this is what community does, and it allows you to work with people and lift up people. And that's literally what Matt's doing with James here. Is Matt has given us his full blessing, and I don't think you can ask for anything else short of that. That is awesome and amazing. But James is, I'm hopeful, I'm pretty sure we're going to see in the end a funding level of around 65,000.
Now, was James one of the old-time OSR guy that ran into a bit of personal trouble as far as medical issues or anything?
James didn't have medical issues. He does have a special needs daughter. Michael, welcome.
I'm appalled. You know what? I would like to right now congratulate Rob on being a responsible adult human who knows that once every 2 weeks there's somewhere to be, and he will be there. That's just the kind of guy he is, and this is why he's a legend in the gaming world. And the other guys are just nobodies because they don't keep their word.
Well, actually, we're going to have to cut Tim some slack because the snow around here in this the 2024-25 winter has been terrible.
All right, Tim, we're going to cut you slack for this. We're going to give you.
Section have nothing on the snow like the snow we got up here.
What's Joe's excuse? Did it snow on him too?
Oh, Joe is done with the Friday night.
He's got better things to do. Okay, I'm sorry.
Joe has said that 2025 he is focusing on creation. So he's wrapping up his D&D 2E game. It's going to be wrapping up in about a month and a half, 2 months. So yeah, he's hunkering down.
Wait a minute. He's going to hunker down to do some writing. He's going to get in on the action after all these years.
Yes,
and either share or publish some stuff.
Oh well, okay. Well, I'll give him a little bit.
All right.
I got to take a break too. Jeez.
All right. So now let's move on from there. Then we have we've addressed Tim. We've addressed Joe.
Greg, what's Greg doing?
He's got 2 teen kids, so there's always something going on there. Matt Jackson is newly married, so
say no more.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised his wife allowed him to even log into the chat.
Yeah. And he's also still on second shift, so there's.
Oh yeah, that's true too.
He hasn't made the, excuse the pun, the shift to the new shift.
It sounds like the random party is going to have to get more random as 2025 goes on.
Which is honestly, it is fun. I mean, that's the fun of it, right? Getting different personalities, different people together. And like I said, Rob was right that we should be highlighting James's Kickstarter because everything that James had, and I'm purely biased. I will say this from the start. But everything that James touches is gold.
He's an amazing guy. He's very, very. He's just look. He's done everything. He's done MERPs. He's done Star Trek. He's done Star Wars.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings. Yeah,
just an amazing guy. If you ever talk to him, he's just a great guy to talk to. He can talk about any subject in nerddom. I once at North Texas had a 1 hour conversation with him about Star Wars, and I'm not even that big a Star Wars fan, but I wanted for him to explain why The Last Jedi sucked balls so hard, and he told me why. He gave me an hour-long dissertation on The Last Jedi, which there's a lot of stuff I didn't even realize that he touched on. He actually kind of liked it, and so he was saying, I know why you don't like it.
Last Jedi, the middle one or the last one?
It's the middle one. It's the terrible one, Rob. It's the bad one. But he explained why he thought it was good. And although I did not agree with him, I appreciated his explanation beyond, man, you're just a toxic fan. And toxic fans suck, because that's what you get. When you complain about anything in nerddom, you're just a toxic fan. You might, you don't really have a reason. You're just toxic. So, James he's just he's a great guy. He's an absolutely great guy. And like I said, very knowledgeable about any type of nerddom there is. And so I'm looking forward to his Kickstarter. I think it's going to be, he actually talked about that with me. Gosh, it was last year. I can't remember when, but I was telling him about my fantasy Heartbreaker I wanted to publish someday. And he said he's got a lot of similar ideas in his. So now I want to see what his looks like. I don't want to retread his territory. So.
And by the way, folks, there's a link on the bottom of the screen, 10 Cars There's tavern.game/WBC. It'll take you to White Box Cyclopedia on Kickstarter. It's a hair under 30K. James, if you've enjoyed White Star, you know two things: that James can write RPGs and he understands White Box. He understands simplicity doesn't mean simple. Just because the rules aren't complex doesn't mean they can't have depth. And James is literally an expert at that. So very happy to see this going on with James. Very happy. And Mike and I are still trying to schedule James for a Wednesday night.
We'll get him eventually. I'm not sure when, but hopefully during the Kickstarter. I really hope so. So. Oh
yeah, we definitely got to find a way to get him in.
Yeah, we'll get him in the Kickstarter because I know
they're on the camera. Z, I don't care. It's going to be over somebody's camera. It might as well be mine. Okay. I got the face for radio, so blocking me out is fine. I'm certainly not needed. I see Tom from Tabletop Tap Room is in. John Miller. Listen, we always have a great turnout for these live streams. So I really can't thank you all enough. I'm going to pull this off because, Mike, we do have a bit of a I don't want to call it a situation, but I was sent to PM, a very long PM, right before going live from a convention coordinator, operator, convention, somebody running a convention who apparently got screwed by one of the major publisher organizers of organized play.
Oh, it's that situation. I thought you. Okay, I was going to suggest Imodium. I had no.
No.
Okay.
Do you know about this?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I think Rob and I are waiting to be enlightened in here because I do not know.
Okay, so, and Ron asked me. Ron came out, and this is Ron Meichler. I hope I put an L in there. Sorry, Ron. Are you interested in a show topic? So, when you ask me if I'm interested in a show topic, it's one hell of a topic, and I could show the whole screen, but what I'm going to do is give you the nuts and the bolts of it. Whoa. Rob?
Yeah.
I think Kellyanne is like standing on top of you now, laughing.
I can hear a conversation. I can make out the words even. I can make out the words.
Yeah.
I apologize, guys. The Windows is auto adjusting my mic.
Oh, it's like we know we need to hear more of this.
I was interested. I want to know what's going on.
It's like,
Hold on. What are you guys talking about?
Ladies and gentlemen, the most professional podcaster, streamer on the
folks. Our shows.
Any show by Eric Tenkar is going to be most
Okay,
professional.
a little bit later, you'll get a Rob story. They're talking about something that happened to me earlier.
Oh, boy.
Oh my gosh. So, Ron sent me this PM earlier tonight, and basically I asked, should I rip off the Band-Aid? And Ron was, yes, please rip off the Band-Aid. So for folks that don't know, Philadelphia Area Game Expo is next Thursday through Sunday. So we're on Friday. So we are currently, 6 days away?
Yeah.
So actually, Mike, it's good that you came on tonight because I can ask a convention guy.
Okay.
First off, does North Texas run organized play?
No, we do not. We do not have organized play because of multiple reasons. I can explain them to you unless you want to get right down to the nitty gritty here, but mostly because organized play, in my opinion, is better for larger conventions. Because larger conventions often need to fill up quite a few slots. We don't have that issue. Our tables will fill up from regular gaming. We don't have extra rooms or extra tables that really we could put for organized play. And we early on when we were approached by the Pathfinder organized play people, we realized this, and I knew this from going to conventions, that when you have organized play, you basically have a convention within a convention.
Right.
And so you're letting a group come in and for promoting your convention, you're giving them a room and saying, do whatever you want the entire weekend, that they're not going to mix with you. Whoa, what the hell? They're not going to mix with you. They're not going to, what the hell? I have a phone here that never rings. And
We are all failing our save again.
We are. This is ridiculous.
All we need now is my son to call like he did on Wednesday. And when I confronted him, he goes, "Oh, I knew you were on a live stream. I just wanted to call."
But anyway, so you get the point is that you're basically giving them their own convention within your convention. And like I said, if you're a smaller convention, you don't need to fill up those seats. You should have those seats filled up. But I understand absolutely why larger conventions would want that, because they give you a lot of publicity. You have people that come to your con that maybe normally wouldn't come to your con. They're coming there for the live play or for the group play thing. And so I can understand why people would have it. It's just not for us. And we don't want it because we just don't need it. Let's put it that way. We don't need the publicity. We don't need the promotion. We don't have the extra room, and so we just don't do it. I'm not against it. I'm just saying that there's various reasons we don't have it at our con.
By the way, in the midst of this, Tim snuck in. Thank you, Tim.
Yes, hey Tim.
Hey, Tim.
He got guilted. I'm sorry, man. Didn't mean to guilt you into that.
No, I finally answered her damn phone. So
Okay.
I had to make sure it's just such shit out there tonight. I want to make sure she was okay.
Okay, no, that's good. So Ron reached out to me because apparently the Pathfinder Society, run by Paizo, was their regional coordinator, was in touch with Ron going back to, I guess, last summer, to organize sessions, numerous sessions of organized play. And then would frequently not be would be incommunicado and unreachable. So Ron multiple times had to reach out to Paizo corporate to ping this individual alive to respond to communications. And the communication he got right before Christmas was, "I'll get you the list of GMs tomorrow."
Which is 3 weeks before the convention, right?
Oof. Yeah.
So yesterday, which is not tomorrow, from right around Christmas time, but which is like 2 weeks from Christmas time.
Right. Yeah.
Ron gets an email or a PM. I'm not quite sure. I'd have to go back and look, but it's inconsequential, from the regional coordinator saying that all you got is me. I have no DMs. I have nobody in the region. Everybody's busy. Nobody can do it. You're going to need to cancel these 6 days on Friday, these 6 on Saturday, these 4 on Sunday. This is why you don't put, in my opinion, you don't put your con in the hands of another corporation, especially not one that Paizo's not going to take the hit on this. And by the way, Ron wants Paizo to, hey, you screwed up, you fall on the sword. It's how I was taught as a police officer and a sergeant. Screw up, take responsibility for it. If I take responsibility for it, guess what? It's going to hurt a lot less than when I have to pin you to the sheet. Well, Paizo apparently is not taking responsibility for it, but on top of that, Rob would like to have his guests that are now out of. If you're signing up for organized play with Pathfinder, you're probably playing in more than one slot.
Sure.
So there's a good chance that you just get your whole weekend screwed because in games that you were planning on playing, there's no GM.
Right. And what was the attendance at Page last year?
I think last year I'm gonna pull the number out of my ass, but I think it was 1,100. I could be wrong.
Just to stay for generous, let's lowball it and say there was like only 100 people interested in playing Pathfinder, which is probably way more. But that's 100 people, 50 people is a big chunk of one customer space.
Yeah, and all they're going to remember, and isn't that Paizo fucked up? It's Page fucked me over, right? Whose fault is this? The convention's fault. That's how the average consumer, the average attendee, is going to view it. So Raj, yes. So and Raj, just folks don't know, Raj is running Central New York Con the weekend after North Texas. I have a busy June, but when you're running a convention, you're putting your con's rep and your rep on the line if there's these kinds of screw ups. And for any to put on the hook this long is wrong.
I mean, Eric, look at North Texas. We only have 500 people. Imagine if we had, I don't know, Pathfinder Society there.
Oh yeah,
and they had 30 or 40 games they canceled. That'd be a freaking disaster.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Which is why I'm telling people, if you have a smaller con, I would stay away from organized play because of this exact sort of disaster. I'll give you another example that real quick that happened a couple years ago. ReaperCon, 2 weeks before ReaperCon, the organized play, the guy who handled the organized play for ReaperCon quit under weird circumstances, and he canceled all the organized play games. And so we come to the con, and there's zero organized play at ReaperCon, which is mainly a miniature con, but they've been having a lot more RPGs. And so you have all these guys walking around with literally no games because, once again, ReaperCon's more of a miniature con. There weren't just all these table games and pickup games going on. And it was not a happy experience for a lot of people. But they had put a lot into this organized play. And it basically turned out the guy who was supposed to set up the organized play didn't really do it, or he didn't get a lot of confirmations, and he didn't get back to Reaper about it. And when Reaper found out, they were very angry with him, and so he quit in a huff because he didn't like them being mad at him. But it was it was their fault for letting things go the way it did, but it's also his fault for just kind of quitting in a huff. Say, okay, well, no more organized play. Then I'm just going to call them and tell them not to show up to ReaperCon. And once again, so we show up for ReaperCon, and there's no organized play there. And now it didn't bother us; we were there to vend, but there was a lot of unhappy campers at ReaperCon 2 years ago because of this.
So, to educate those of us who are not involved in organizing cons, how normally does the organized play side of thing? Because most of these game companies, even Paizo, are small. So, how do they handle the logistics of all these cons all over the place wanting organized play?
Well, there's usually a one person, Rob, that's like basically in charge of a region. And that person, like for instance, when we had Pathfinder talk to us, they had a Texas person or a North Texas person, and they said, "Look, what they told us is, look, here's what we're going to do. We'll come in, we'll schedule X amount of games. We're going to give you a lot of free product. You're going to get all this kick-ass free product. We just want this. We want a room. We want this many tables. We want this many slots, and we will bring the DMs in. I will sign up for all. I will sign up all the games. Whoever the guy was, I will make sure all the games are written down. Which games are going to be when." I'll coordinate everything. All you guys have to do is just give us a space at these times. And this is back when Doug was still with us, and we looked at it and said, I just don't like it. I mean, we're giving over a lot of space. And first of all, our con is an OSR style con. Okay, well, Pathfinder is not necessarily an OSR style game.
No.
We're letting 30, 40 to 50 people into our con that aren't going to mix with the other people. Because we asked them, we said, is there ways for other people to play in those games? They said, well, not really. Mostly Pathfinder Society people just stay with Pathfinder Society people. So they're only going to play these games. They're not going to play any of your first edition games, this and that. Okay, so what it looked like was we're giving you a room to have a convention in. You're going to be paying for it with product that we can do whatever, but you're going to take up this much space in our old school con playing Pathfinder and not assimilating with the other guests. Now, most cons might look at, like I said, most cons are very happy to fill seats. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, you're going to fill up a room and 50 seats? Hell yes. Come to our con and give us free stuff. We don't have that problem in North Texas. We're full. We had virtually no open gaming tables last year because we had so many games scheduled. So that's not an issue with us. We don't even have a room we could put an organized play in. All our rooms are full. Every room in the hotel is full. So for us, it wasn't hard for us to say no. A lot of cons, it's very difficult to say no. It's the same reason why a lot of cons have Magic the Gathering tournaments. You'll come to this RPG con and they have this giant Magic the Gathering tournament. You're like, well, why? Well, here's why. Because first of all, they give the con tons of product to give away, usually Magic cards or packs or whatever, and that's good. Those are good giveaways. But they will bring people to your con. Now, the people might not be playing in RPG games, but guess what? It doesn't matter. They're paying to get into your con.
And it will attract more vendors, which also help the RPGers because now they have more places to shop.
Absolutely, and so it's for a lot of conventions, it's a financial situation. But that's basically what happens, Rob. Somebody sets it up. A regional manager sets it up. He signs up all the game, he gets the DMs. He'll call his buddies and say, "Hey, we're doing a convention in Dallas. Can you show up and run X amount of games?" Sure. That's how. I'm pretty sure that's how DCC does it too.
Now, these regional managers, they're volunteers themselves?
I think it depends, Rob. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they're paid employees. It just depends. A lot of times they are volunteers and they get paid. Basically, you can go to the con they're not paying to go to the con. They're getting Paizo is cutting them a check or saying, "Hey, we'll pay for your hotel room. We're going to pay for you to get in the con and just run this many games." And then it's okay. So then they farm it out to I got 5 guys here who want to run games. They have the same deal. You come to the con, you run games. We're going to get you in a hotel room. Sometimes it gets messy. Like you might have, it depends on how much money the company wants to spend. They may say, guess what? You guys are all staying in one suite, and you got 4 guys, sleeping on the furniture because they all have to stay in one suite, but you're there at the con for free and you have a free hotel room. Other times, they may be a little more magnanimous about the kind of space or time they give you.
Almost sounds like they're Amway distributors.
You know what? You're not wrong. And here's, there's always a lesson to be learned, and the buyer beware is part of the lesson. If in this case it's Paizo, all right, and Paizo is it seems to be from what I got from Ron, Paizo is trying to push it off on, oh, this wasn't us, this is our regional guy. They don't want to take responsibility for this fuck up, but if you are a company and somebody is representing you, then it is your reputation on the line. Step up and fix it as best you can. Give away $20 in store credit to these people who are getting screwed over and get some goodwill out of it, as opposed to starting to say, well, it wasn't us, we didn't do it. but now the other way to look at it too is if you're the con organizer, if you can't get a confirmation from an organized play organization 2 months before the con, maybe you should just cut them out. And maybe Paizo's got to learn that. I mean, this, in my opinion, is a company of Paizo's side pretty much telling a convention, well, you know what, you really don't matter anyway.
I mean, the question is what would happen at Gen Con? And if they have if they would go,
right.
Pull all alarms to fix the Gen Con organized play. I mean, how big do you have to be to get that kind of attention from the parent company?
Gen Con and those bigger cons, they've got a bigger stick to swing in terms of, you're not going to not show up for something like that. And not only that, you're going to have all hands on deck because everybody wants to go to Gen Con. So you're going to have no problem finding volunteers to drive to Indy and then and then all stay 16 of them in a suite, because they all want to go to Gen Con. And so you're not going to have a problem with something like Gen Con or Dragon Con or one of those large cons.
Sure, they have tens of thousands of attendees, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but 1,000 attendees is still nothing to sneeze at.
No, but it makes it. I mean, this is going to be a hardship for Ron. This sucks for Ron because you've got all these people that signed up for Pathfinder games. Now they're not being run. You can't find a game this late in the game. I mean, you can't. There's nothing to sign up for this late in the game. And they're and like Eric said, they're going to be mad at Paige, and they shouldn't be. But the buck stops with the guys who run the con, and that's just the way it is. Like, well, I mean, one year we had Jim Ward cancel a week before the con, and now it was health reasons, and there's nothing we could do about that. But we had people signed up for all his games because he's Jim Ward. And he was running Gamma World and Metamorphosis South and all his stuff, and he had all his slots full. And we're just like, sorry, the guy had one of his heart attacks or something happened, and and that was just one person, canceling. I can't imagine a whole, this is how many DMs, Eric? 4 or 5.
Well, it was 6. I think if I would actually, I can look at the message real quick. I think
this is multiple DMs canceling. This is bad. And like Eric said too, this is true. Most of those people probably playing those games are probably playing more than one of those games. Especially if it was a a league thing, they were probably playing. They usually have, it's like the old fashioned, scenarios that went from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. They were probably playing in a whole row of those scenarios,
like the A series, the original form of the A series.
And that's how they do their tournaments at these conventions. They're probably playing in. They probably had some people come in. That's all they were doing with Pathfinder, games.
So it is 6 slots being canceled on Friday, 6 slots canceled on Saturday, and it's actually a 3 and 3 because 3 of those are being canceled because they're being run as a group event. But you need 3 DMs to run it. You can't run it with just one. So you got to slice that out. And then 3 and 4 on Sunday. So, what is it? 8 people per table? Right?
Yeah.
8 people per table. So you're talking 48 people Friday, 48 Saturday, and 32 on Sunday. I mean, that's
rough.
If there are 16 PF Society games, that's a potential of 128 seats.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally putting all your eggs in one basket. And that is a danger for any convention. But if and listen, I've talked to people that have done organized play. I've talked to people that are looking to start organized play groups, not necessarily like Paizo and Adventure League, or whatever it is for. Is it Adventures League for 5e?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, not necessarily. Where it is, you're bringing your characters back between sessions, but at least where one organization is supplying GMs. But if you can't get Paizo to supply GMs on their promise. He knew whoever was involved in this, and I'm not going to go back and look up his name. Whoever was involved in this for Paizo shat the bed, knew they were shitting the bed, and just put their head in the sand, like the proverbial ostrich, which I don't see, I don't hear, I don't know, until it became shit off, get off the pot, and it was too late to do anything. I am actually surprised that this individual, the organizer, still plans on showing up on page to run their events. I give them credit for that. But there is a huge, huge issue if you are an organizer for Paizo if you don't communicate. Maximum of 7, according to Ryan. All right, maximum of 7. Fugly is saying 6. Listen, even if it's 6, we've got 35, 40 people that are going to be out of games each of those days.
Jeez, yeah, that's not good. That's awful. I don't, man. Like I said, I remember also one year, Gamehole Con. Alex had once again Jim Ward. Jim Ward was there, and he got sick after the first day and had to leave because he's diabetic and not only was he scheduled for games on Friday and Saturday, he left on a Thursday. They were pay to play games. In other words, the slots were like you pay $50 to play with Jim Ward.
Right.
Not only did Alex have to pay them, refund them, he had to find something for them because they were complaining again. Like, hey, what are we going to do now? These were our slots.
Right.
And we paid this much money to appear. And Alex, being the great con runner he is, managed to work it out with him. Like, okay, we're gonna get you something special. I don't know if I think he had a special session with one of the celebrity that were at the con, but he worked it out with them. But yeah, it's just tough. It makes it look. I'll probably talk. We'll end up talking about this, Ron and I, at some point. But I'd have to think about ever having him at my convention again after that. I don't know that would be a gimme if I'm going to have Pathfinder Society at the convention after that.
Oh, I think that would be one and done, personally, for me, because you're not screwing one player, you're not screwing one group. You screwed multiple groups, multiple people. Mm-hmm. If you take each person as an individual, that's dozens of game sessions that you ruined for people because your organizer was essentially incompetent. And when I'm saying incompetent, I don't mean because they failed to get anybody. That can happen. Maybe you just can't find anybody in the Northeast that wants to show up.
There's a lot of reasons, yeah.
But you got to communicate.
Absolutely.
The fact that this individual went silent like a sub hunting for Red October in the movie, I mean, it doesn't. It's not the way to run a business.
It makes it look bad, right, guys? Because here's the deal: it makes it look like, oh, I can't find anybody, and so I'm gonna hold. I'm not gonna talk to Ron until I get my guys together, without just saying, hey, Ron, I'm having a problem filling the slots, and so I just want to let you know up front. I'm having a problem here.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say anything. Get back to him, and I'll just hope that I find people to fill these slots.
Yeah, maybe we need to cut them back by half. Okay, so now I don't know how these these organized play organizers get compensated, but I would assume some of their compensation is how many slots can you fill, and somebody overpromised by far if you couldn't fill any. That is a huge issue. So, like I said, Ron reached out to me this evening. I was driving back from having dinner with our niece, which, by the way, when you're driving and you start hearing noises and you have to turn the radio off and figure out, is that my car or somebody else's car?
Oops.
It's my car. It's my front passenger brake.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's like I think I'll be going to Pep Boys in the morning. But I was like, oh, okay, yeah, no. Fun. But yeah, folks. Life moves on.
That's it. Yeah, as a con, like I said, as a con runner, that's a clear and present danger you always worry about. You know, we did have one year when we had really bad weather that week. It rained quite a bit. It flooded.
Oh, yeah.
We had I think you were there, Eric. We had about 60 to 80 people cancel, and some of those people were DMs. And
Yep.
so you know, that I mean that was literally the day before the con. This happened, so it wasn't like there was any warning at all. But people are usually really understanding about stuff like that, and they were in this case because there was flooding all over Texas at the time, and people knew what was going on.
Yep.
But it doesn't make it any easier for the people running the con, or you know.
No,
I mean,
no. You know, and listen, I was at Gary Con 1 year. The weather was so bad that my flight got delayed a day. And then when I finally got there, it was beautiful that Rich and I got our room upgraded. We got the chalet or whatever the heck it was. It was got our own little house. It was very nice. Only issue is that other people were snowed out too, including Frog God's 5e DM.
Oh yeah.
And it's like literally game time. Here, I go, what's this? You're running a session. I go, what?
Oh yeah, I remember this. Okay, I was at this con.
Yeah,
I remember
you
this.
were.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
I'm running Mouth of Doom for 5e. I don't know 5e.
I mean, that's not on your game plan at all.
It's not on my skill list. I don't even have it on my dump stat. I mean, it's not listed on my character sheet. Trust me.
No, not at all.
And that's when I ran Swords and Wizardry Light instead. But you know, listen, as a con organizer, sadly, this isn't uncommon, but it's not usually this large a cancellation issue.
It's kind of your worst night. There's a few things that are your worst nightmare. This is one of them. Is that a lot of people can't. A lot of DMs cancel right before, especially there's celebrities. Now I don't think there's any celebrities in here, but just that's the worst. One of the worst things is celebrities canceling last minute because you can't replace them. You can't replace them. They're just they're just gone, and they're usually a huge draw for your con. So
I see Edward Kopp is in the chat. Ed, we had a conversation yesterday, which would have actually been, if I had gotten this information the day before, we would have had a very interesting conversation. It's about organized play and the fact that Paizo dropped the ball at Page and was having to cancel numerous slots because they couldn't find the GMs, and their regional organizer, dodged informing Ron until the very last moment. So, yeah, you know, there's a lot to be said about organized play. There are potential pitfalls if it's not run properly, and I think that you're seeing that with Paizo. And I don't believe it's a sign of an issue with Paizo. It's probably an individual issue, but it's something that as a corporation you got to get in front of. You know, you don't. Why would you want bad publicity because of something like this, right? If you can't get the GMs, if you're literally shit out of luck, don't wait until a week before the convention, the event, to inform the convention owner. Oh, by the way, you need to cancel these 16 slots of games.
Man, yeah, that's a tough one.
You know, it really it blows my mind. Rob, no, your biggest celebrity is Greg Gillespie. Your biggest mouth might be me, but no, your biggest celebrity at Central New York Con is going to be Greg Gillespie.
Oh, that's cool that he's making his way.
I thought you were saying North Texas. My biggest thought was like Greg, that guy. No.
Oh no, North Texas.
He's just a guy showing up that we're going to make a special guest. And we got the likes of Jeff Grubb and Jeff Easley and Jeff D. We got the Jeffs. I mean,
And we got Jeff. You got the Alan Hammock,
Oh yeah. We got the Darlene. We got
Merle Rasmussen.
We got the Rasmussen.
So
We've got the names. So,
you got the rest of us will just hanger-ons. That's all.
by the way, Roger, if you want to, I'm not going to pretend like I'm a vast font of knowledge on running cons. We've been doing North Texas now. This will be our 17th year, but whatever. We just kind of run it by the seat of our pants. If anything you want to talk about, always, my line's open. Just, go through Facebook and send me, drop me a line. I'll give you whatever knowledge it's worth giving. I can give you. So,
All right, Rob, what do we got?
Well, so I've been working on the first draft of Into the Majestic Fantasy Realm, and one of the things I had to do was fill in all the corners that I didn't fill in, and I did that last week. So you guys are getting a sneak preview.
Only thunders when it lightnings.
Of the complete Majestic Fantasy Realms, and where Black Marsh is here in the Northern Marches. That's what I'm calling what I'm going to be releasing in as part of the Kickstarter. But I am going to have as an appendix, kind of like a Greyhawk folio, not the box set, but folio, very terse, but a brief description so you guys know a little bit about the larger world. And I was able to take a lot of the stuff I did that was original to me, but I put it in the Majestic Waterlands, and I was able to put it in there. Those who follow my blog may recognize Nomar. Eastgate is my take on my version of the city-state of Invincible Overlord. The same with the Shattered Empire of Viridia. And Lanacre is actually a more recent place that I developed for my Waterlands called the Nap. Tim, you were there as adventuring with Josh and Joe. And so just wanted to show that.
Okay.
And another thing that's going to actually be happening a little soon, it's not a paid project. It's one of those things that I do from time to time. But Jim Molesky was talking about on his blog about making Traveler stuff, and he wanted to improve the layout. And over the years, I've come up with my own layout inspired by the format of things in like the Traveler Adventure. And now I use CorelDRAW, but I was trying to make it more accessible for James at Grenardia, and I realized LibreOffice has a draw package, so I converted it over. And I got a few tweaks before I share it on my blog, but what it would do is just allow you to make a nicely formatted subsector without, this is where you can put your subsector listing, and you can get this map off the Traveler map. Just copy and paste it and size it accordingly. But you can go in here and, edit the text and then save it and have a nice handout to give to your players. So I thought that would be neat to share.
Very cool. Yeah, it's very evocative. You come up with some evocative names there, Rob. I like those names.
On the Majestic Fantasy map. Well, Tim was my mentor in that regard. Also kicked my ass a few times when I came up with a bad name.
I didn't kick your ass. I just made other suggestions.
You kicked my ass verbally.
Honestly, one of the to me the biggest bad name companies was ironically Judges Guild. They had some really terrible module titles and I thought some very awkwardly worded countries and places on their map. I remember doing something with the Elfand lands, and every time I said that, so I said that you mean the Elven lands? No, not the Elven. The Elfand lands. What does that mean? I don't know. Call it the Elfin Lance. I don't know. Elfin Lance. You're right. It makes no sense. The Elfin Lance. Oh.
Yeah, one of the things that kind of was a breakthrough a couple months ago when I was looking at my Majestic Waterlands, my old Majestic Waterland supplement, is how when I ran the Majestic Waterland, certain regions had certain flavor, and it allowed me to use the same setting for a lot of different types of campaign. And I realized, I can transplant that idea to Majestic Fantasy Realm, so I'm not overly detailing. So because I still want to make all these small letter-sized hex crawl that explore different situations as far as a small self-contained setting. And I'm pretty happy with what I got now that I can continue to do that.
Is there a wrestling match going on somewhere?
Once again, the most professional podcast on the air. Anything Tankar.
It's like there's a beating going on with wet noodles, and I was not invited to it. It's just.
And Gunn wonders why I talk about Jenny D so worshipfully, because this doesn't happen. This doesn't happen on her shows.
All right, so here,
no, this doesn't happen on
Wait a minute, Mr. Gunn. Yes, urinal cake was definitely off the table for a town name.
Oh,
so a little peek behind the curtain. There are some very popular gaming shows, gaming channels that will not do a live stream for any price. Okay? And I've talked to people. Listen, God bless those of us that do live streams and Roll for Combat. They do live streams, right? But others don't. Jenny D will never do a live stream.
No.
She'll never do a live stream.
No.
That's why she's successful.
And by the way, I'm going to say maybe you should think about not doing them either. I've seen some of your live streams, some gaming live streams. No, actually, I like I find them quite enjoyable. But
so I have one more thing to show, and it's actually a piece of gear. But I saw these, and I asked my son for one of these for Christmas, and I got it. And what it is, it's just a generic keypad that you can assign any keystroke combinations you want, or in some cases you can actually put mouse action. But I use this with my Corel Draw, and oh boy, it really saves a lot of time. Like I have one of my drawing tools set to the letter Q, but if I click the text tool, I'm going to type a Q if I try to switch to it. But with this, I was able to solve that issue. So I'm able to go, text, and then, my pointer, and then my drawing tool. So if any of you guys use, any kind of drawing software, these are inexpensive, and I highly recommend it. I liked it so much that I got a bigger one.
Well,
I haven't figured out all the commands that will go on here. I'm still working on that, but. Yeah.
World guys, the bigger the better. If you can see it bigger, if you can see it
more better.
The smaller stuff, I'll lose stuff that's small.
Well, my son is going to 3D print me a stand for this so I can put it. I have this wooden shelf thing that my monitor sits on, and he's going to make something I can clamp to it, and then I can have it sit in front of me, and I can go boop, boop, boop.
Oh, okay. Try. I'm trying to multitask as we got multiple things going on. You can't fix stupid, by the way, with this whole Paizo thing. It's still annoying. It's getting stuck in the core of my mouth because I know pretty much every con, if they were in this position and they had to fix it, right? Because they were organizing it, they would find a way to make their customers happy. But because Paizo has that degree of separation from this whole incident, they're kind of like, not our problem. Not our problem. But
Yeah, Ron's gonna have to make it good, but that's just what you do. You take those hits, you know.
yep. So, so now, what other events are going on in gaming? What we're still waiting on 2024 D&D to fully release. It's almost like a bad porn film. It's
I went down to the game store. You know, it's supposed to release in February. I tried to pre-order it, and it says, "Yeah, distributor." You know, they tried. They couldn't. They went to the little distributor website, and they couldn't pre-order a copy for me. They check back next week, and it was the same way with the DMG. It wasn't until 2 weeks before release that I was able to put a pre-order in.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Well, listen, like those of us that have been gaming for decades, the most popular book is always the Player's Handbook, right? And that's the one that everybody needs. And then I didn't get a Monster Manual with my AD&D stuff for like, I don't know, at least 6 months after I got my initial books, Player's Handbook and DMG. The Monster Manual was almost the most optional book, especially if you already have the 2014 Monster Manual.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from the fact that your orcs are now Mexican, I mean, what, and that your dwarves bake pastries in their smithy. I mean, what real changes are going on that you're going to need to make sure that your game runs properly?
You know, I missed your lead in with that. What's your overall point? No. I actually
no. My point is that you can't order the Monster Manual, right? But that's also probably the least popular of the core books. And when you think about it, that's the one that everybody needs the Player's Handbook.
Yes.
And then most people want the DMG, but like the Monster Manual. If I have the 2014 Monster Manual, do I really give a flying F about the 2024 Monster Manual? I know the DMG included Greyhawk, has all these great selling points to the DMG. I'm tempted to get the current DMG, and I don't even care about the Player's Handbook or D&D 2024.
I do have to say, I'm going to say they tried and sometimes succeed with the trying to walk a total novice through the process of being a dungeon master of a campaign, even to a greater extent than the 2014. So, again, like the Player's Handbook, I got the 2024 edition because not I intend to play it because I want to support my local game store, and I have all the editions of D&D, including 4E. So I would just buy the 3 books and be done with it. But I did learn some things from how the Player's Handbook was organized, and I did learn, and the DMG wasn't quite at a teaching moment at the Player's Handbook, but there were some things that I'm going to pull out for my own projects. But yeah, I mean, the whole thing, and especially the biggest thing they're going to have to watch out for is that people know that 2024 is frustratingly familiar. In other words, it is a version of D&D 5e 2014, but they change
little bits.
a little bit. Like quapping a healing potion is now a bonus action that it mixes people up. And, you know, the 5e group that I run monthly, they all express frustration. Is this 2024 or 2014? I don't remember. I don't know. Why did they do that? Why did they even change that? It's not because the change was bad. It was just so many, and they just got tired of remembering them all.
And Rob, we've been around since the changes from 1E to 2E. Mm-hmm. And some of those changes were useful. Some of those changes were just there to make the rules different enough that you had to buy new rules.
Yeah.
Now,
the ones you hated.
And when I run AD&D, I am running a slight mishmash usually if I'm running it, especially from memory, of 1E, 2E. Like if I take that, like, remember when Joe used to pull out the cards from the
yes.
Oh yeah. He used to pull out the cards from the old Was that from 2E? I think it was from 2E. You know, I'm going to trivia cards, the AD&D trivia cards.
Right.
But they were the ones that I would screw up were the ones where I was still remembering the 1E version of whatever, because that's what you broke your teeth on. And when you're running an RPG, you know, your knowledge of the rules and your ability to improvise where you lack the knowledge is what makes you a skilled GM.
Right.
You know, which is why old school GMs are like, well, I need less rules because I can fill in the blanks. But to be a good 5e GM, that's a lot of rules that you need to know. And now they make it even harder because now they've changed a lot of small stuff. It's frustrating, I am sure.
At this point, look, if you're playing, what are we going to call it? 5e, 20, 24, I don't know, whatever it is. If you're playing this by now, you're either all in or you're not, right? I mean, or you decided like, look, this is just not for my group. We're just going to go ahead and keep playing the same thing. I mean, so you're right. I mean, the monster manual not coming out, it's only going to affect that small group of people that, you know, hey, we're all in on this. We have to know how to play this version of
right.
fight. But everybody else just going to say, yeah, whatever, just move on. We're fine.
Well, all right. So now I'm going to take this in an adjacent step further. Then, with rules changes like that, those are the perfect rules changes for a working VTT that's built on these rules from the ground up.
Here we go.
Then the GM doesn't need to know all the fiddly bits because they're built into the VTT that isn't released yet.
Well, we already have that in action with Baldur's Gate 3 because Baldur's Gate 3 seems to incorporate not all, but some of the 2024 changes.
Okay.
Like dropping a potion in Baldur's Gate 3 involves a bonus action.
All right. So, and I think we've asked this question before, but not necessarily with this group on screen. It's a double party question. When do you think the VTT is going to release? And is it going to be a success?
Here's the problem with what's going on with the VTT, and this is the same problem that all game companies are going through right now. Everything is taking longer to do. I mean, I'll give you a couple examples. I game a few games. I'm not a huge gamer, but you know, people who really enjoyed Skyrim are here we are, year 11, but without a sequel, and this is the longest Bethesda's ever gone without an Elder Scrolls game. Why? Because it's just harder. It's just harder to do this stuff now, make it look better, and make it do what everybody wants it to do. And so that they used to go 3 to 5 to 6 years between games. This is year 11. The new Fallout game, Fallout they're on year 6, I think, since Fallout 4. You know, it's just and look, GTA, you know, Grand Theft Auto, year 10 right. since they're very successful last Grand Theft Auto. The next one's due either this year or next year. I don't know. It's just becoming harder and harder to get these things out and make them work, make them actually work and do what they're supposed to do on any kind of a quick time schedule. So whatever time they thought this would be out, I mean, honestly, you got to almost add a year to it.
Well, and we had a literal technological sea change happen with AI. Now, we all talk about AI and some of the negatives and stuff, but as far as if you're going to use AI for anything, it's almost tailor-made for NPC interactions in CRPGs. I mean, you don't really care about accuracy so much. I mean, you obviously want it to feed into whatever the main storyline is, but just if it gets a little wonky, I mean, who cares? I mean, it's not going to total your car because the autopilot went crazy. You know, it's just an NPC in a game. But this was any game with a multi-year development process just had that dropped in your lap 2 years ago. And I bet we're going to see a lot of games that shoehorn it in, and it's going to be terrible. Just like when 3D was all the rage, and suddenly movies just did this auto 3D conversion, and it looked terrible in 3D.
Oh yeah, that's very true. Yeah, because they thought, well, that's the hot new thing. Let's do a 3D version, and the 3D version sucked because the technology wasn't there yet. And so whenever they thought this was going to come out, you got to add time to it. But they're kind of under the gun here. They're basing this entire next step of their evolution on this VTT. It's got to work, number one, but it's also got to get out before 2027. So that's a dilemma, man. That's a tough one. Those developers are not in a good place because they're getting yelled at by everybody.
And now I don't pay attention to the news, but now that the Monster Manual release, isn't it about the time they start touting their next wave of products? And
Oh boy.
I haven't heard anything much like a cool new adventure series taking advantage of this brand spanking new rule set.
Well, I mean, again, what they should be pushing is this $1 billion IP is only $1 billion IP if they can turn it into a perpetual Baldur's Gate. And to do that, when they show off their VTT, they're showing off Transformers and they're showing off Baldur's Gate characters. What does that have to do with my D&D session and my campaign? They're not thinking that way. They're thinking at this as something larger than just D&D and something larger than just you replicating gameplay at your table. Mm-hmm. And there's where I think that their failure is going to be. They're reaching for the stars and they can't even get the apple out of the tree. I think that's...
Well, aren't they having a science fiction role-playing game coming out, Wizards?
I don't think it's by them, though. I think it's by...
it's a licensed IP.
But I don't think the science fiction game is coming out by another Hasbro division. It isn't. They're not. It's strange because you would think, isn't there a Transformers RPG and a G.I. Joe RPG? And they're not coming out by WotC. They're being licensed out by Hasbro. So it's very strange. I wish I could tell you how that all works.
Well, I mean, Eric and Eric could comment on this too. That this is the core result of what we've seen the last 2 years, all the way back to the end of 2023 when they started getting rid of people and bringing all these new people in. It's just this is kind of the confusion of what I don't know if they know what they're doing. That they may have already changed their game plan 3 or 4 times. I mean, they've changed their president in the last year, and they've rolled over a lot of personnel, and I don't know if they know what they're doing. I mean, not to bang on them again for the 100th time, but they just seem to be kind of like here was our plan in 2023. What was the plan, Eric, to make 10 times the amount of money? Or
it was going to be that was before she left to go to Funko and make little Funko Pop figurines. She was going to make D&D into $1 billion IP.
Yes, $1 billion IP and triple R this and that. And so here we are, and it's a year and a half later, and we're still sitting there. Okay, you bungled the 50th anniversary. I mean, the books did fine. The 2024 books did okay, but they were very limited releases, right? I mean, they weren't just thrown up on the shelves and sell as many as you can. When they were released, they're very limited, and so we don't really know what the effect of the 2024 5e is. And I don't think they're cruising right now until they find somebody that maybe they have a plan and so they're waiting on that person to pop in and say, okay, here's what's his name, and he's president now. He's got this kick-ass awesome plan, and this is what we're going to do. Maybe they're waiting for that. I mean, I don't know.
Okay, so I got something. It's called the Exodus RPG,
Okay.
and I'll share it in a second here.
Sounds familiar. I do believe reading something about it.
Okay, and where are?
I think it's being published by like WotC's video game arm or something like that.
Yeah, it's for upcoming video game. I got it. Oops, wrong one.
Oh,
Sorry. I sent this into a Doctor Who episode. Let me.
that definitely was Doctor Who like, I gotta say.
Oh, I see what I got to do.
But yeah, I mean, look, they don't have a president right now. I mean, I don't know if that really means anything or not. I mean, they haven't replaced the president either, right? I mean, they're just like, well, we're just going to keep on rolling. And or did they replace the president finally? Or did I not?
They got the funds. Remember, they got old man Fonzarelli.
Oh, God. Oh,
So
that's
this
such a
is what they announced, and of course, they immediately stepped their foot in the mud by including Traveler's Handbook, which is going to confuse the shit out of a lot more than a few people, even though it's only spelled with one L.
I was going to say it only has one L. That shouldn't cause any problems.
No, not at all.
Yeah, that'll clear it up.
It's all good. Everything's
Hey,
good.
Kurt, welcome. Exodus is the new video game by the creator of Baldur's Gate.
All right.
So and Wizards announced it, so it's just not a third party. They're heavily involved.
Well, I mean, is this the new Star Frontiers? Is it?
Oh boy.
I know there was a rules preview, and I know I should have a source for it, but it kind of looked like a 5e-ish system from the previews somebody was sharing. And that they were talking about actions and bonus actions and reactions.
Is this in reaction to anything, or is this just because, I mean, did they really at this point, is this because Starfinder's doing well? And I mean, what's the point? Why don't you
is somebody at corporate's bright idea that they're working on this kick-ass. The focus is on the computer RPG.
Right. It's based on
Because D&D is now in the Hasbro's radar. They probably said, hey, you should make a tabletop RPG with this.
Oof.
right. It's kind of taking it the other way. Instead of making a computer RPG based upon our RPG, let's make an RPG based upon the computer RPG. It's going to be just as successful, just the other way around.
Kurt, you got out just in time, brother.
Hit the ground running, man.
Just keep running as fast as you can away from this disaster. Just keep running, Kurt. Run like the wind.
That's right.
As Kurt said, it's the RPG based on the video game. Yeah. Oh. Kurt's sitting at home right now drinking whiskey, just laughing his ass off. Not having to worry about this stuff anymore. Oh man.
Scary stuff.
Why the hell did you use Traveler?
I'm not saying that a game. I mean, look, there's the RPG for Fallout. I understand it's pretty good. I'm a huge Fallout fan. I've never played it. I understand the RPG is pretty good. So you can make a successful RPG out of a successful, computer game program.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know that much about Exodus. Like somebody said, it looks good. It does look. The game itself looks great. I've never played it though.
There was an EverQuest RPG, if I remember, and a World of Warcraft one.
But I don't think they never really caught on, did they? I mean, I remember seeing the rule books, but
they're AAA hardbacks, full color.
Yeah, but does anybody play them at conventions though? No, I mean not
anymore.
No. So that's the thing is, you do a lot of this. Up to now, I think Green Ronin's been the big company that really chases a lot of properties. And I don't honestly know how successful it's been for them. I know that a lot of these properties, that they did the what's the really good sci-fi series that came out a couple years ago?
Expanse, and
Expanse.
I broke down and they gave they put up a last chance buy-in on backer kit, and I couldn't read. I resisted the Kickstarter because I already have the original rule book, and I couldn't resist. I just rewatched the series and rereading the books, and I just love it.
But
So
did you? What about the RPG? So you actually didn't get the RPG, Rob?
Yeah, I got the PDF
Oh,
on the last.
you did. Okay. Well, what did you think? I mean, is it playable? Is it good?
Well, I didn't get the new one yet, but I got the
Okay.
old one, and yeah, the old one uses the age system,
Okay.
and even though Age first came out for Dragon Age, and then they did Fantasy Age, I liked it. And Tim, I, and Dwayne, we played the shit out of it, and then Dwayne made his own version of the Age system called the Crit system, and it was pretty good. And I made a science fiction RPG out of it, and ran a few games of that, and then we got into old school gaming, and that kind of fell by the wayside. But no, it's a playable system. They lean a little bit much to the narrative, but it can be ignored if you don't want like those kind of rules.
Well, usually, normally, like I said, Green Runner. This, I don't know that Hasbro's always had a lot of luck with properties. I mean, I know they did Star Wars for a while. The Star Wars supplements were pretty good that they did, but that's just not their thing, right? Is properties. I mean,
there's the book.
There it is.
Oh, yeah, the Expanse stuff that was on a Kickstarter, yeah.
And then the new one's called the Expanse, the Transport Union edition, and because the Transport Union is after the sixth book. Spoilers, folks. After the six books, they had to regulate Interstellar Traveler, or the Cthulhu-like gate ring entities would eat up starships passing through the rings.
Mm.
So the Transport Union is not quite like a federation, but everybody needs to pay attention to it, or they'll lose starships. And the new edition, this one is set during the events of the first three books. And the new edition is set after the events after the sixth. There's a 30-year time jump between the end of the sixth books and the beginning of the seventh book.
Oh, wow.
That's what they're focusing on, is that 30-year gap.
Now, wasn't there supposed to be a follow-up series or a movie to the Expanse TV series?
Sure. I mean, they got the seventh and eighth and ninth book to do if they ever
get
their IP.
The Expanse was really good. But like most of these series, the last season, I'm not gonna say it sucked. It didn't suck, but it didn't hold up to the earlier seasons.
I think because they had to wrap up a lot of things is a problem there.
Right,
and not only that, they showed because I'm reading the book that the last season is based on, and there's so much more in the book.
Yeah.
Right.
So what we saw for the TV series with the greatest hits of Babylon's Ashes. That's what.
Okay. Well, also the fact that they had to write out one of the characters because he was.
Oh yeah, that's right. He had issues.
They had to write out Alex.
Yeah. Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, one of my favorite characters too. That sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was like, ooh, all right. I guess that had to happen. All right, I'm gonna take this into a random, almost like Glenn-like direction.
Oh boy!
But no, but not quite. Only because I'm going to be talking about it's not old movies. Not allowed to bring it. But what are you watching on demand that you would recommend to the viewing audience?
Skeleton Crew, unbelievably.
What service is that?
Disney Plus is a Star Wars series, but okay, so the story is good. It's just like the Goonies. It's like a Star Wars version of the Goonies. All those ones, E.T., all those movies that came out in the 80s that had kids, explorers. It had that vibe, and it's centered on a group of kids. But Jude Law plays a scoundrel in the show, and I don't know. It's like Andor. It's the exception to the rule.
Andor is very good. So after I canceled Disney, they had a Black Friday deal where I was able to get Disney for like, because Disney jumped their price huge. I was like, I'm not paying that. I went, oh, I can get a cheaper Disney with occasional commercials. All right, I don't watch it that much. I'll pay for that. Mike, what are you watching on demand these days?
We just got through what we're gosh, I'm trying to think. We got about 2 or 3 things going. We got Landman going with Billy Bob Thornton. That's not gaming related, but
What's the deal with Landman?
so you guys familiar with the Taylor Sheridan thing? So Taylor Sheridan's this actor who's also a writer director, and he is absolutely hit it big and sitting on this giant mountain of money now because everything he touches turns to gold. And so
he
his
writes
last
good
few
stories.
shows,
I watched 1923 and the one set in the 19th century where they
Yep.
went to Montana. Those were pretty good.
yeah,
They
he
kept
does
me-
all the Yellowstone. He did Lioness, which is a pretty good modern day espionage show with Zoe Saldana and a couple other people you might have heard of. And he also does. Anyway, he's done a lot of successful. He's very successful. He and Costner had a big blow up the last season of Yellowstone, and Costner left. They killed him off, and the last season was Yellowstone was awful. And then of course Costner left to do Horizon, which wasn't very good. So they really both should have stayed together. It wasn't good to break that team up. But he's doing this new series called Landman. It's about what a landman is for an oil company. You have these guys called landmen, and they go in. They're the ones that handle everything. They just do everything. They do like all the dirty work, all the things that need to be done. And so I'm kind of a sucker for anything Billy Bob Thornton's in because I think he's a great actor. He's hilarious. He's one of the most unintentionally hilarious actors of all time, no matter what he does.
I love him in Fargo.
Yep. And he does a great job. He plays the landman. It's in Texas, Lubbock, Texas. They're pretty on target. There's a few things that I roll my eyes at being a Texan myself. I'm like, I don't think so. That's not, well, a lot of it has to do with distances because one show they have to drive to Dallas, to Fort Worth and back in a day. And then along the way, they do like 18 different things. I'm like, yeah, that ain't going to work, folks. That's a long ass drive. And you're not going to stop 5 times along the way either. But no, so anyway, it's drama. There's problems with the oil fields, and they've got a drug cartel trying to use the fields for something. There's all these different politics involved. There's an explosion in the oil well. They have to pay off the people, but then there's all kinds of things that come to light because of that. They're skimping on their materials. John Hamm plays the owner of the oil company. It's a small company. It's not like an Exxon or Chevron. They're one of the more independent ones. They're smaller. Demi Moore's his wife. He gets big name stars to play bit parts, which is kind of one of his things he does too. So Demi Moore's in it, John Hamm, Billy Bob Thornton, Ali Larter's the crazy wife. And so there's just like every Taylor Sheridan thing, there's like 85,000 different things. It's a soap opera. It's a Dynasty or a Dallas or whatever. It's a soap opera for adults. And it's pretty good. There's lots of great quotes in it. There's lots of this is actually a lot. Yellowstone took itself way too seriously. I thought it was so dark and it's just so gloomy. This is a lot of humor and intentional and unintentional, even though there's a lot of death and because working on oil field is dangerous and they show it. You'll have a guy walking around and all of a sudden something falls on him and he's dead. And you're like, oh, well, that's what happens. I mean,
well, 1 second. So I disagree with Ty Beard on Landman being the role of Billy Bob Thornton. That assassin he played in Fargo, I don't know that he stuck the landing on that.
The first season? That's first season of Fargo, right?
I think so.
Yeah, he was
either
really,
second or second season.
Well, he played so okay. I'm gonna not spoiler. Billy Bob Thornton in Landman plays a hard drinking, smoking, over the top, like type A guy who's just jaded at the world. I mean, he's like every Billy Bob Thornton character squeezed into this one guy. And even though the guy's, I mean, he looks like he's 100 years old. He's beaten down. He's got a beaten down. His wife beats him down. His daughter beats him down. His son beats him down. The boss beats him down. The job beats him down. I mean, it's just like you keep waiting for the guy to have a heart attack every episode.
Like Harrison Ford, he's a man to be beaten down.
But it's funny. And so anyway, it's entertaining. That's all I'm going to say. Now there's been some developments in the show, and the thing is, every Taylor Sheridan show starts off really strong. Yellowstone was great for 3 seasons. Season 4 was, and season 5 was like, and so he has a tendency. He starts off real strong, and then you have a sense he gets bored, or he gets attracted to shiny object over here, and then he does something, or he does a movie or something. And so the first season's
G.R.R. Martin.
Yeah, except Martin never even finishes anything. at least Taylor will finish and he's done a lot of movies too. By the way, you see a lot of Taylor Sheridan productions. One thing I like about his stuff is he uses the same actors, and so you'll be watching a movie going, man, those 3 guys I've seen before, and sure enough, they're one of Taylor Sheridan's shows. And then you realize he's a producer of the movie too, so he likes to use the same people. He's real big about using the same people. But he gets a lot of stuff in Texas right. So, like I said, the stuff he doesn't get right, you kind of roll your eyes like, all right, whatever. But it's fairly accurate in terms of the Texas stuff. I've talked to people who work in oil fields, and they say, yeah, 90% of that show's fantasy. It's not, none of that stuff doesn't happen. I'm like, well, I'm sure that 5 people don't die in a week on the oil field, and then drug cartel comes in and blows up a truck. I mean, yeah, that stuff, I'm sure that doesn't happen. But the terms of just what goes on in Texas and how Texas sees itself, and football's king, and if you're the quarterback of the team, you can you're the small town, you're the king in a small
I thought
town.
that was Friday Night Lights forte.
Pretty much, yeah. They cover a little bit of that, though. That's just like a little part of it. There's a part where they talk about the football team and this and that, and then like the people just sitting around the town just talking shit about stuff. I mean, they get a lot of things right about how West Texas is. It's a lot of boredom, a lot of nothing, a lot of just there's a lot of wealth, though. There's a lot of money there, but there's not a lot to spend it on. So they all have a big house in Fort Worth. They don't live in Lubbock. They live in Fort Worth, and all the landmen and the people who work on the oil well they all live in Lubbock. So it's a worth a watch. It's worth a watch. If you're a Billy Bob Thornton fan, I'd say give it a watch.
All right, Tim.
Or a Taylor Sheridan fan.
Tim, what is your go-to at the moment?
Oh boy, I'm so behind on things because I only keep one streaming thing at a time. This is not gaming stuff, but it's stuff that I like to watch all the time. Is the intimately creepy shit. I finished Baby Reindeer, and then I really want to see that one because I'd heard all the stuff around it, and it lives up to what it is. I mean, it's pretty graphic, and the guy who stars in it is also the guy who experienced it and wrote it.
Baby Reindeer?
Yeah.
Not end well.
No. Well, no, it ends well. I mean, compared to what it could have ended.
Is it a series or a movie?
It is a series. I think it's got 7 episodes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it ended well. He got his fucking show on Netflix.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's winning a lot of awards too on top of it. But I like when I say creepy, intimately creepy. This, it's very realistic. It's it's not Freddy Krueger. It's not ghosts or anything like this. It's just like real life shit that can happen, and it just comes so bizarre out of maybe the realm of most people's experiences. But it definitely can happen, and I like watching that stuff because I like integrate them into my NPCs and game.
Well, there you go. Well, yeah, I actually started watching. Now, apparently, the second season just released. I didn't catch the first season. SAS Rogue Heroes.
I watched some of that.
I was very. It's based on a true story and mostly happened as depicted. I think that's how they state it. But it is a very entertaining, gripping, showing you how the SAS, the Special Air Services, basically the SEALs of the UK, got their start. And, oh my God, it is gripping, and it's also
first mission. What the fuck they were thinking?
Exactly, and on top of that, they kill characters, which obviously this is based on a true story, so characters will die. But they're not to ruin anything, but their first mission, they lost like half their team of 60.
Oh, that's another half. They came out. They had a 60-man team and came out with 22.
Right.
It wasn't through enemy action.
Yes, it was due to bad weather and the sand. So, but it is, honest to God, I've been enjoying it, and my best barometer is Rachel's enjoying it, and she's like, "Yeah, let's watch another episode tonight." But I want to pace it. I don't want to watch it all at once and have it be done with. And that's fun and great, because we go through those binges where we watch on-demand series, and then we'll go for a week and we're just watching random shit on YouTube, which isn't anything against the random shit on YouTube, but it's not that it's all compelling. Just gotta say, I mean, I don't watch a lot of gaming stuff on YouTube because Rach won't be interested in a lot of the gaming stuff unless it's the Irish chick or Grim Jim or James Raggy. So if it's James's last video, Rach will tell me I can only do it in like 15-minute increments because James is on for over 2 hours.
God, he talked forever. No. But I like James's last video because before, back in the day, he would blog and sometimes get a little self-absorbed, but he usually has it sprinkled throughout that he wrote some insightful things.
Yes.
But in recent years, it seems all his videos were apologizing for something or explaining something that fouled up. But this last video looked like a return to form. But there's still James being self-absorbed, plenty of that. But
well, I mean, James does a lot of. If you read James's stuff on Facebook, there's a lot of self-reflection. When you do a lot of self-reflection, it winds up being a lot of self-doubt. Am I on the right path? Am I going in the right direction? Do I need to make changes? Do I need to change course? I'm too old to give a shit about that stuff right now, so I don't worry about that. You'll hit that age around 50, 55, where you go, fuck it.
I guess one reason his video kind of got a positive overall from me because he started bitching about the thing that I went through before I wrote my Majestic Fantasy RPG is like, why the fuck do I need a rule book? Why can't I just write my adventures and setting and be done with it? The only part is like, James, by now you don't get it? Why you need a rule book? I mean, we're still a pretty small outfit and not everybody knows what swords and wizardry or even can get swords and wizardry. So if you have your own rule book, you kind of can control more. You have a better point on selling the stuff you really want to sell.
Well, all right. So maybe we'll wrap it up with this unplanned topic.
Oh, by the way, James will be a guest at North Texas again this year. I talked to him.
He loves North Texas.
He will be on the way, and he'll be running games. He didn't run games last year, but he'll be running games again this year, like he did 2 years ago. So that's
awesome. James, folks, if you have never met James in person, meet James in person. He is a humble, down-to-earth individual. You might
fun guy to talk to. Fun guy to talk to.
Yes.
He runs a hell of a game too. I got front row seats to the 3 games he ran because they were in the table right in front of my booth, and he's a great GM. Great GM.
So yes, I'm glad he kept his shirt on and other parts of his clothing.
I think we can all thank Finland for that.
Oh, thank you.
No. He was out in the snow one time. He was out in the snow naked one time.
Unfortunately,
yeah, but not for a 2-hour video.
No. 2-hour video that could be lethal. Really could be. But
even if it was shot at different times.
So my whenever I go to the Complete Strategist in Manhattan, one of those mecca game locations, if you're going to be shopping for RPGs, one thing that always strikes me is that you can find James's stuff in print at at the Mecca, at the Complete.
Hmm.
And you
good
can't
for them.
find Swords and Wizardry. You don't. I don't think you can find OSC. I don't even think you can find Shadow Dark. I don't notice it, but you can find
yeah.
James's books at the Complete, and I find that to be a great accomplishment. But I also find it to be very interesting because in the OSR, Shadow Dark and OSC are lighting up the charts left and right, but you're not finding them in one of the biggest game stores. And I don't know how distribution works for people that are distributing OSC and Shadow Dark, but I just find that kind of surprising.
Well, it isn't James, to its credit, one of the first to really work the traditional print run distribution angle. He figured it out how a one man shop could hack that.
Probably. And he prints in Finland. He has a high, whatever you listen. Not everything that James publishes is something that I would use in my campaign, but damn, the quality of the products that he puts out is second to none.
And I dealt with James on several projects, and he always treated me great on business wise.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very happy and blessed that I communicate with James multiple times throughout every month, and I got a heads up on his latest video before it was publicly released. And sadly, my heads up was as I was lying in bed, getting ready to go to sleep with my phone, and I saw 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I was like, "Oh, this is for the morning."
Too much of an investment of time there where you're about ready to go to bed.
And of course, as Rob put it, if he didn't have his shirt on, I mean, God, that would have been a nightmare. If I was like falling off to sleep watching James. But I mean, is it important for publishers to get their works into these game stores? Is direct marketing and direct publishing enough? I mean,
Yeah.
OSC is doing very well. Shadow Dark Kelsey is doing fine. I just, would they do
Look
better?
at Kevin Crawford, one man shop.
Yeah.
Argue with. I mean, I don't think he has $1 million Kickstarter yet, but for a one man shop, you can't argue with what he does.
No, and they're very successful. Is it? So I guess the follow up question is part of the secret knowing what your comfort zone is in your achievement. I mean, there are people that are never going to be happy with what their product sells, and then there are people that are happy that they just sold anything. But is the level of success that Shadow Dark has reached, could that be greater if it was getting into the mass market, or do you not need that? I don't know.
I think every creator that I've seen that was hugely successful is also can be described as authentic.
Yes. Okay.
And being authentic at our level is the key to success. The only time where this authenticity doesn't matter is when we have to deal with corporate bureaucracy, which is what the distribution chain. If you're selling to Barnes and Nobles, and their authenticity is wasted. But if you have the capital to take advantage of that, do that, but don't lose the sight of your other channels where authenticity is important. So Kelsey and her team has authenticity. Kevin, Crawford has his authenticity. James and all these guys have their different but authentic approach. Tim, me, you, Frog God Games folks. I mean, that's the key to success. Develop a vision. Be you, be polite. Be a polite version of you. And you enjoy at least a modest level of success.
Are you saying that those of us on screen are not polite by nature?
Look, not naming names, but we know the ones who are not polite, who had some modicum of commercial success, and they're not pleasant to deal with.
I will grant you that. I just wanted to know if there was anybody currently on screen. That's all.
Oh, on screen?
Wow.
Yeah.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Pick an asshole by the toe.
Yeah.
No.
Oh God. Well, we may have met our witching hour. I think that we did a pretty good coverage. Michael, thank you for being Joe the lawyer for today without having a fake screen up in front of you.
I will always show my fat face. Don't worry. I will never hide it.
Hey, Glenn.
Hey, Glenn.
Right.
Glenn, if you'd showed up earlier, we would have tossed you an invite.
The man's here.
The one, the only, Glenn Hallstrom. Glenn, who got me wearing hats in some of my live streams. We're not
Good job, 19 people. You did good.
Well, right now we've got 33 all together. We hit 40. That includes X. Because people do watch us on Twitter.
Ooh.
That's weird.
Twitter, Gamers Health. I'm getting more views on Twitter than I am on YouTube.
Yeah.
Good.
So
I would never think about doing that, I guess.
You know what? Can I run something past you guys real quick?
Yeah.
I just thought this interesting because there's been the Blue Sky exodus on Facebook for whatever reason. But everybody, I'm moving to Blue Sky.
I'm announcing my exit. Please, hold the doors. Hold the doors.
I was just thinking today. I was like, I guess I'm going to have to announce my not Blue Sky because we mostly run North Texas off Facebook. Yes, we have a web page, but most of the information when it comes down comes through Facebook. We post on the Facebook North Texas page, and I've talked about this with Gary, but I'm not getting a Blue Sky account. The same reason I'm not getting a Twitter X account because I don't want to have more social media in my life, and so. Especially social media that's regulated by how many characters you can post, yada yada, whatever. And so I feel at this point I almost need to make an announcement. Hey, by the way, we're not moving to Blue Sky. We're not going to have a Blue Sky account. If you want to keep up with us, you're going to have to keep your Facebook account because otherwise you're going to have to really check in with the tabletop events because we're not doing it.
Come on, Bad Mike. Say what you really want to say. Fuck you, Google, for canceling Google Plus.
Oh God,
Google Plus was great, man. I loved Google Plus.
All right, so Mike, so what you're basically telling people is, if and I'm not saying you should do this, folks, but if you're going to make a fake Bad Mike account, do it on Twitter or X.
Yeah, guns are right now.
Have the fake 10-car account up on Blue Sky. It was the reason why I had to get up there and I already had a Blue Sky account. I just never used it. And I was like, oh, well, there's a fake me up here, so now I have to make sure that people know to ignore the fake me. God.
My feeling about Blue Sky is the same my feeling as Twitter. I don't use it.
Yeah, that's what my whole thing is. Gary and I are not taking on a whole new social network just so we can, hey, the few guys that left us, I understand you don't want to be on Facebook, and so we're going to go to Blue Sky just so you can be caught up with us. No, I mean if you leave Facebook for good, you're just going to have to get your North Texas information off the website or off the tabletop events because we're not going to make we're not making accounts for that. I have enough social media in my life. I don't need any more social media.
How about MeWe, Eric? How's that MeWe?
MeWe is dead. Yeah. But I mean, here's the little secret about social media, folks, and I don't want to break anybody's martyrdom on this one where they go, but it sucks. You can tweak social media, whether it is X, whether it is Blue Sky, whether it is Facebook, to only show you people that you. If you don't want to hear somebody's political rants, you can go fuck you and unfriend them, or you can just go unfollow and never see anything from them ever again unless it's in a response as a comment to one of your posts. So
Right.
they don't know. They just think you're ignoring them. But reality is you unfollowed and put them on permanent mute. What do you think I did during the election cycle where anybody left or right that was just obsessed with political posting and I didn't know them on a personal level?
Right.
I don't know about this. John Smith is a friend of mine on Facebook. Well, I'm going to unfollow because their posts are full of political noise. And that's what I saw it as. So if you don't want that in your feed, spend 10 minutes clearing out your feed every day for a week. And guess what? After that week, you'll get your echo chamber.
I block, liberally block it. It's blockity block, and I curate my ads. Where all you have to do with the ads, if you get tired of certain ads, you're going to get ads unless you have an ad blocker. If you get ads, you just go into everyone and block and just get rid of the ad. No. And you know what? I've got rid of most of the shitty ads I used to get. They're all gone. I don't see them anymore. I see ads now for comic books, games,
and penis lodges.
And teenage, Japanese girls,
there you go.
food. I mean,
like I said,
the stuff I want to see.
What kind of feed do you have, Mike? Good grief! Yeah.
I don't get the stupid ads I used to get because I would go into every ad. Now, seriously, for like a week, like you said, I would just. Do you want to see this ad again? No, never again. Why? I don't know. It's whatever. I just push a reason, and then just kept doing that. And then if you block people, you see stupid things pop up. Just block them, and you're done. And like you said, but my Facebook is a wonderful place now. It's very curated.
Yep.
I only see the stuff I want to see. You don't have to see the idiot stuff.
No, I vet the shit out of my account too. I just make sure, if somebody wants to friend me, I try to go on their timeline, and if I see 2 political ads or anything like that within the first couple, nope, gone. And anybody who gets real, just vicious on there for whatever reason, I've got a few that are grandfathered in because I've known them for so long. It's like, okay, that's just Jackson.
Tim's right. Tim's right too, because if somebody wants to friend you, just go look at their page. It takes 1 second. I do that every time I have these people. I have no clue who they are. I see a name. It says you have 25 mutual friends. I don't know who it is. I click in their page. If I see stuff I don't want to see, no, you're not my friend. I won't friend. I won't be your friend. Nope.
You have the power. Literally, you have the power. Don't be pissed at others because, Facebook is full of so much shit. Yeah, it's full of shit because you haven't gone through it and take that little, pool cleaner pole and be the pool boy and clean the shit out of the pool, and then you'll be able to swim in it again. It takes a little responsibility.
That's part of the reason why, like, I was the moderator for the RPG Zine group on Facebook, and we were close to, I think when I stepped away from it, we had like 4,500 people. A lot of them I didn't know, but it was generally a pretty good, I think out of the couple, 2-3 years that I ran it, I only had to block one person that I remember. He just got nasty about something stupid. But then it just started getting bigger, and I just didn't have the time to put into it. But then it started getting a little bit more political and identity politics and different things. And while I wasn't willing to get in that, and I wasn't going to spend my fucking time on it, I have other things and other priorities that I had to do. I wanted to hand it off to somebody who had the strength and the will to deal with that kind of crap. So I handed it over to this guy named Tony, and I think he's been doing a good job with it. But that's why I won't moderate a group anymore unless it's a private group, and I just let pretty much hand pick who comes in there, because I lost that ability to kind of make sure my feed wasn't going nuts with chaos or whatever. So that's because, I got 4,500 people in that group, and it's sort of like, ugh. So, yeah. So that's why I'm staying away from moderating any type of groups anymore.
I don't blame you.
I apologize for not remember, but to kind of tout what you're doing, you post, I think it's your most recent Patreon post. You posted a new map, and you seem to up your game as far as the shading and coloring stuff.
I try shit all the time. I just do different things, and mainly it's because I'm stealing it from somebody else. I see somebody's map, I like it. It's like, oh, I like the way they shade it. Oh, guess what? You're going to see in my next map. You're going to see their technique or something like that. That's
what
probably,
did you do different this time?
This is Reddit. I usually share my maps. I get trashed all the time for not jaquazing them sometimes, or not, or like the one guy said, it's 8 rooms. It's completely useless. It's like, okay. I'm sorry you don't have.
All right, dude. I'm giving you a chance to show off. Show off, damn it.
Well, I'm just saying, it's just like, okay, dude, I can't help it if you don't have enough imagination to, make 8 rooms worth something. That sounds like a you problem. So,
I mean, for what it's worth, I do agree with you on that sentiment, but
no,
it was really quite good. So
No, I appreciate it. Yeah. Tim has no more fucks to give. Behold his fields of which he trusts in his bear.
Amen.
Yeah, I basically torched and burned that field a long time ago.
Are you channeling your inner Tim Kask?
I don't know if I am or not. I mean, it's not that I don't go, because Tim is known to go after people. I don't go after people.
No.
I don't have the cred he does to do that, anyways. And I just kind of do my own thing. And if somebody has a problem with it, that's not my problem.
Yeah.
And it's not like I do anything that's at really, at least not to me, is that offensive or a thing. I just like making my stupid fucking maps. I like just making my stupid fucking adventures, and I like gaming with my stupid fucking friends.
Wow, you're just a stupid fuck, man.
See where that ended? It started out good, and then it just slid right into the dark.
Well, that's probably the best segue we could have to close out this episode.
All right, let's end it there then.
Yeah, they weren't fucking bastards. They were.
That's right.
So, folks, again, thank you to Mike for joining us. Tim, for making sure everything was safe.
Yes, she's safe. Yes.
Rob, of course, for being the first. And listen, we were late not because of Rob. We were late because we were waiting to see if anybody else was going to show up. Just to put things in perspective. All right, folks. As always, be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice, roll them well. Tomorrow, Gamers Health at 8:00. That's the next live stream. And otherwise,